I was pretty nervous about this trip, whether I'd be able to do it or not.
Hi guys, I'm Vishesh and I recently drove down from Bangalore to Delhi during Unlock 1.0. Driving through the country during a pandemic was an unsettling experience and quite honestly a nerve-wracking one. I just left Bangalore with my luggage, a few snacks and my smartphone. I thought I'd share that experience with you of how I prepared for that road trip and how I managed by myself for those 3 days and how I stayed in touch with my friends and family. I had been working in Bangalore since November, but after coronavirus and the lockdown, our company started laying people off, and unfortunately, I was one of them. Even though it wasn't by choice, and because I had no job and a lot of expenses, I decided it was time for me to pack my bags and come back home to Delhi. The next few days went into planning the journey. I went through the entire route on Google Maps and applied for passes accordingly, because I wanted to keep my social interaction to as minimum as possible. On 29th of June, I left from Bangalore. I had my mask, I had my sanitizer, I had my snacks, and most important of all, I had my phone charged because I was completely going to be dependent on it.
I also asked people before the journey about which network was most stable.
And even then, I was scared. Internet kahin fail ho gaya to? I've done these cross-country road trips with my friends before, and I absolutely love them. But this time, things weren't the same. Even though the drive was beautiful, the roads felt empty. And because I was driving alone, I felt isolated every now and then. And so, I called my friends and family on video calls, and I even sent them my live location because I didn't want them to be worried. So my first stop on day 1 was Hyderabad. I spent the night there to rest. In fact, I even booked my hotel while I was on my way there. Had it not been for good internet connection, मुझे शायद रात को गाड़ी में ही सोना पड़ता. It's strange. At the hotel, how you can't talk to anyone because of social distancing. I stayed in my room, I had my phone, and so I watched a few videos and slept. The next morning, I started driving again and made my next stop in Jabalpur, where I spent the night again. Since I was driving alone for long hours at a stretch, I had to make sure that I was completely alert. And for that, my music was very important. I wasn't just listening to music, I was streaming it. I don't know how, but the Airtel connection worked flawlessly. After leaving from Jabalpur, I drove one shot, crossed Agra and reached Delhi. As soon as I got home, took a hot water bath and gave my mother a big hug. And then quarantined myself for the next 2 weeks.
I was pretty nervous about this trip, whether I'd be able to do it or not, whether I'd be able to do it in one go or not, like कहीं पंचर तो नहीं हो जाएगा या कुछ हो तो नहीं जाएगा. It was beautiful. I mean, check that out.
I covered over 2,200 kilometers across 6 states in 3 days. If there's any advice I have for anyone who'd want to travel during a pandemic, I'd say get your permits in order, plan your journey, carry your own food, and most importantly, stay in touch with your family throughout. Because driving during a pandemic alone can be a bit scary. I'm glad I had the internet to stay in touch with them.